Hello, hello, all. Thank you for joining us again on the Almost Brothers podcast. Hey, will you do us a favor? If this podcast has meant something to you and encouraged you, will you consider becoming a monthly supporter? You could do $3, $5, $8, or $10 a month. What this does is this helps financially support the podcast so that we can continue to put out content and help better serve you. So if you would, down in the show notes, you can click the link, support, and become a monthly member. We love you. New episode coming your way. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. Thank you for joining us yet again. Pizza sauce. On today's episode, we are talking with a special guest. I've kind of been distant friends with him for a while, but we're excited to have him, and y'all will find out after our intro. Jay, how you doing?
I'm good.
Everything
Blessed.
good? Life good?
Blessed. Yes.
Yeah. So what? So is there a story behind it?
I didn't know it was there until you pointed it out.
It happens, man.
It does
Sometimes
happen.
stuff just pops up.
Like your wife would say, them kids.
Them kids. That's right. Yep. Yeah. We're gonna be calling this episode Ministry Mystery. Let's go. See the feet over there tapping there, Jay.
It's catchy.
Yeah, it so is, dude. I've had dreams about that song. I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth to it. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, everything going good. We
good.
We went pretty good.
Yeah, it's going really good.
Almost over.
Almost done.
How was service last night? I didn't get to make it out.
I mean, it was really
to the
good.
main, yeah.
It was very, very good. Yeah, we had a lot of people came forward last night.
Yeah.
It was we didn't have the house wasn't packed by any means, but the ones that were there was just a real good amount of people that came forward, and I feel like a lot of healing took place.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. It was good for those that were there. Everybody that showed up got something out of the service, and you always love that, you know.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was kind of same back here, man. We there was a lot of hurt, you know, in the house. You know, the enemy's really been attacking these families, so there was a lot of hurt coming through it. Man, it was just awesome from beginning to end, man. From before first song played all the way through to the end, man. It was awesome. But yeah, on today's episode, we got special guest, Pastor. I'm going to say it after I say this because I'm going to mess myself up. Pastor Johnny Burkhalter in the building. Here's Johnny.
Oh my gosh. What's up, guys? I can't believe you did that, number one.
I had to give my best one. I was like, okay, I got it's got to come from deep down. So I know the first question. Might have lost him. Oh yeah, I bet he hit end on his thing. So we're gonna get him back on. I think he hit his AirPod and hit it off. But yeah, give me 1 second. Oh,
Little technical difficulty.
that's right. Man, it'd be cool to have recorded the video off here. That'd have been pretty neat. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, so sorry, bro.
No, you're good.
Touching nothing.
I was like, I think he squeezed his AirPod there, and yeah.
Listen, I'm like the worst millennial. Technology is above my pay grade.
It's like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Ricky
yeah.
Bobby over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was going to ask you, kind of just to clear the air here. Okay, so over under, how many times have people just butchered your last name?
Well, so much so, actually, 1 million would be the accurate answer, but so much so that they just call me Johnny B.
Yeah.
They stopped trying. They stopped attempting. It's just Johnny B. Or JB. Like they just stopped. Even my wife, we've been married for 7 years. She's had my last name for 7 years. And she still looks at me at the dinner table and she's like, how do we say our last name? How do we spell that? I'm like, are you for real?
That's funny.
Marriage certificate. But yeah,
That's so funny. I wonder if she does just put the B, like she signed it, so she's like, B.
Yeah. Natalie B.
Yeah, or just scribble all the B. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how my oldest daughter. Her name's Aaliyah, and I don't think it's that hard of a name, But everybody on the planet, anytime she's getting announced, anything like that, like she got some art awards this weekend at this college here nearby, and they just butchered her name both times. I'm just like, who, like Alaya or it was just nuts. I'm just like, oh, come on, y'all. It's brutal. It's brutal. Yeah. So I always wondered that. I'm like, man, that's a pretty good last name to be rolling around with. So. Yeah, yeah. So
at least they attempt your name. Like people don't even attempt my name. They're just like Jerry, Jeremy. You know, it's like it's Jeremiah. I mean, come on, it's a fairly common name, and everybody calls me Jeremy. And I'm like, I hate that.
It's biblical.
Yeah. And I think it's like the spelling. I think the spelling like throws them off. You know, just like
it's funny.
Okay, because that's how it is. Like being a teacher, like reading some of these kids' names. Oh, dude. It's like, who are your parents? I want to know your parents. Like they're horrible people.
like that YouTube video, Ladasha, you know?
Yes. Yeah. The dude, the comedian. Yeah. He's like, what? Ladasha? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it really is like that. It's like, oh, Zakiah spelled with an S and not a Z. I'm like, then that's not what it says. Like your parents don't know how to spell, clearly. I can't remember. We had a youth that it was Paul spelled with like a C. C-A-U-L, but they pronounce it Paul.
What?
Dude.
No, that makes no sense.
I was like, what? I was like, yeah, it's spelled like it was like after somebody.
Well, it was Saul, but then it changed it to Paul.
Right. I'm like, yeah. I didn't even think of that. That's so funny. I didn't even think of that. That's so funny, man. But yeah, so Pastor Jay, I just wanted you to kind of start out and just give our listeners kind of a rundown of kind of everything that you do and give them a good background synopsis of just you and your wife and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not going to tell you my age. It's old. But yeah, so I've been in full-time ministry for 15 years. So that means I'm at least 15 years old.
Yeah.
I'm older than that, but started off, you know, my mom, you know, I jokingly tell people that I had a drug problem because my mom drugged me to church.
Yeah.
That's like the original dad joke. But I had a good mom. She drugged me to church, my brother and I, and raised us in the house of God. And that was just our flow. Sunday was church, and there was just no questions asked. And I remember at the time, you know, I rebelled against it. You know, some kids fake sick so they don't have to go to school. I would like fake sick so I don't have to go to church.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget one day at 12 years old. You know, back in the day, we had Sunday night church.
Right.
They don't do that now. You know, people got whatever going on now. But if you showed up on Sunday night, you love Jesus.
Right.
Like just hands down. But my parents would take us Sunday morning, Sunday night, the whole deal. But one Sunday night at 12 years old, one of the ladies in the church, we call them church mothers. Yeah. You know, the people with the ladies with the butterscotch in one hand and the anointing oil in the other hand.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one of those ladies, I'm 12 years old. She walks over to me and she just looks at me. She says, "Son, it's time." And she takes me by the hand and she takes me to the altar. And in that moment, I experienced the presence of God for the first time at 12 years old, to the point where I was crying uncontrollably. My parents had to carry me to the car, just completely wrecked by the presence of God. And at 12 years old, and then from there, just began to kind of walk out my own journey, and didn't understand it all at 12 years old, but I knew God had a plan for my life. And at 15, I went to a youth conference and I said, okay, I'm going to get serious with God at 15 years old. And that was kind of a pivotal point for me in my life. And at the same year, I picked up a guitar, and the guitar, what I thought was like a way to impress the girls in youth group, would become a tool that the Lord would use to really set my life on a path. And flash forward a few years, at 20 years old, I get the opportunity to go on tour as a guitar player for a gospel artist, well-known. He was traveling all over the country. And literally in a week, I went from playing in front of the 10 kids in my youth group in the basement, right? Old church basement, elevation. I know, I feel you.
Man, right. Yeah.
But I went from 10 people to playing in front of thousands within just a week's time, like that. Didn't even know all the chords. True story. I'm sitting there with my guitar, like trying not to like mess my britches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yep.
like
Yeah.
freaking out. But I just remember knowing in that moment, this is God. Like there's no other like explanation. And so at 20 years old, I really kind of took that step into full-time ministry. I didn't know that's what you called it. Like I just, I got $50 a week and my Taco Bell paid for. And
Right.
I thought I was Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I'm a musician, and so from 20 till about 24, that was my life, on the road all the time, city to city, playing guitar, doing a little bit of worship leading, as that gift developed. And then at 24, I found myself back home, and I didn't know what was the next step was. And I remember very vividly, I said, okay, God, I said, if this is it, if this is all there was, then I'll just go. I'll go get a job and I'll just play my guitar. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And within weeks of that conversation with Jesus, I got offered a record deal of my own, moved to Orlando, was signed to a Christian label for the next 3 years, did more traveling, did all this crazy only God stuff, which led to me ending up in LA in 2014. It's a crazy story. I won't go down the rabbit trail, but 2014, I'm in LA. I think I'm going to the Grammys. True story.
Oh, wow.
I'm in LA and I think I'm going to the Grammys. I get a phone call. They say, hey, you're not going to the Grammys. Like it fell through, this, that, the other. And to make a long story short, I ended up calling up a friend and said, hey, I remember you have a church here. I'm in LA. I got nothing to do. Can I come kumbaya for your church? I need Jesus.
Right.
And he picks me up and I open the door, the passenger door, thinking the seat was available. And there was this dark-haired, brown-eyed girl in the front seat. And I was like, who is this girl? I was trying to be cool because I think they were hanging out. I don't know. The story differs. But true story, I told my friend, I said, who's that girl? He said, oh, she goes to my church, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, if you don't marry her, I will. And 7 years and 2 kids later, I did it. I married her. And we did, through the years, did a little traveling here, a little traveling there. As kids came into the picture, we settled down some. And after 14 years of worship and travel ministry, out of the blue, God calls us to student ministry.
Yeah.
And it was a church that I grew up going to. I admired this church. They were the big church in town when I was growing up. And I got the opportunity to full circle, come back to my hometown, be on staff as the student pastor at the church I grew up admiring and going to for the big conferences and concerts and camp meetings. Young people don't know about camp meetings.
Man, you ain't lying, man. Oh my goodness.
I feel like you do.
Man.
In my spirit, I feel like you know what I'm saying. But, and that was 10 months ago. And we're recently just, we're stepping in to a family pastor role, overseeing all the different aspects of family ministry at our church, from kids to college, the whole thing. We're kind of taking that next step into pastoral ministry this year in 2022. It's been a wild ride, man. It's been a wild ride. But somebody asked me the other day. They said, how do you not take things personally? When good things happen, how does it not go to your head? When bad things happen, how do you not take it personal?
Right.
And my answer was, I think I'm just really aware of the grace of God in my life. That if I was worried about being qualified for something, I would never do anything.
That's good.
I'm hyper aware that I'm not qualified to step out the front door,
right? Much
less do anything else great for God. So any good thing in my life is is proof of the grace of God. But it's been a wild ride, man.
That's awesome, and it's so cool. Listen to that story. How like you said, God has led you from one thing to another, and it's like just door opening. As one shuts, another one's opening, and how He really guided your path. Not only in ministry, but like you said, with your wife. If you would have went to the Grammys, that connection might, it's like, it's so awesome seeing those steps being made, man. That's so cool. And then, What was was it Worship 360? I think was that kind of the thing that y'all had going on where y'all traveled and all that?
Yeah. So somewhere in the middle of all of that, in the first few years of our marriage, we launched Worship 316, which is like it's a mission. It kind of connects missions and music together. And we've had the opportunity over the years to travel to 5 or 6 different countries. We actually hosted our own worship conference in Kampala, Uganda, Africa, several years ago. And so just taking worship, and connecting it with missions, and worship being the vehicle that gets us into these countries. We'll do like a worship night or a worship conference in the evening, but during the day we're going out in the villages and we're loving on these kids, and we're giving back, and being the hands and feet of Jesus. So we launched that. Actually, it was previously called Worship is International, and we rebranded to Worship 316. But we did all of that like right before the pandemic went cray on the world. So we haven't been out of the country in about a year and a half. We're kind of jonesing to do that. But when the time comes, God opened the right door. But we still are still very connected to several different ministries across the globe, and have had the opportunity to go over there. And it's just really wild. I mean, I remember we were in Haiti, and I had my guitar with me, and if I've ever heard God speak to my heart, it was in this moment. And he said, "Give that kid your guitar." And I tell you, I argue with Jesus.
Yeah.
I argue with Jesus. I said, God, you know how much this costs?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm like, let me just send you the link.
Yeah, right.
So you can verify this. But I remember I handed the kid the guitar, and he started playing it like a pro.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, how in the heck, but just being able to, in essence, we gave that village music. And it makes me want to cry thinking about it. But,
right.
I mean, just why? But it's some simple act, and just things like that we've been able to do over the years. It's just really been an incredible blessing for us, for sure.
Oh man, that's so awesome. And I know. Oh, dude, that's so cool, man. Especially that God will prepare that, man. God will prepare that person ready to receive what He wants you to give to them, man. And that's so cool.
And that's something I've always wanted to do is travel to another country and just minister to the kids. A good friend of mine went to the Philippines a couple times, and he said just the kids are like just flock to in the street. You're just tell them about Jesus. Something that we take so for granted here, because you grow up in church and you hear about God all your life, and even our kids, they've all it's hard to find a kid that's never heard the name of Jesus.
Right.
I mean, really, you have to really look. But over there, he said, they just, when they would minister to these kids, man, it was just like, hearing that for the first time. And it was just, you could see, the light in their eyes and just the hope, you've given them hope. And that's just, I don't know, something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be able to do that.
Oh man. Yeah. That's so good, dude. Yeah. I know the next thing I want to ask, which me and Jay, we've talked about this, just kind of being able to balance that ministry and home ministry, your marriage and then your relationship with your kids and how kind of, that's always been a big struggle for me, man, because when I get into something and Jay's the same way, when we get into something, we go all out, man, we're in. So that kind of balance and that limbo back and forth has kind of always been a hard thing. What is your best advice for somebody, because you've been doing it for a long time? What's your best advice for somebody that has a marriage and maybe has kids, and how to balance that ministry and your home life, man? Because that's got to be your number one priority. But a lot of times, we go chasing so hard after everybody else around us that we're leaving our family, to go and do this, man. And I've told people the story about my wife was pregnant with Bubby, and we had just helped plant this church, and we were sitting in a parking lot at Chinese, and she just breaks down crying. I'm like, what is going on? Is this just like your hormones? Like, what's happening here? He's like, no, you're just never home. Like, you walk in the house, you grab something to eat, and you're heading to the church. And at that moment, it was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I've got to reevaluate some things. Like, I'm really falling and really, failing as a husband and as a dad, because I was running so hard after, hey, we got to go do this. We got to grab these people, that my wife was being neglected, So what's your best advice on how, not only how you do it, but how somebody, say, fresh, new coming into the ministry can kind of balance that?
Yeah, somebody told me something not too long ago, and it rings true in my life, and that's this: that balance doesn't really exist, because seasons change and the flow changes, and we have to be ready.
Yeah.
It may be a busy season now, like in the church world, Easter would be a busy season, so it's different, and so maybe around, it just looks different. Summertime, kids are at home, they're not in school, so it's different.
Yeah.
So instead of balance and trying to achieve balance when it's really difficult, when things change, the word of the Lord for us this season has been tempo, and just really trying to get the right tempo.
That's good.
And just get in sync with each other, my wife and I. And I feel like the Lord really gave us 3 tools for tempo this year. And those 3 tools are pray, prioritize, and pause.
That's
and so
good.
when the tempo of my life feels out of rhythm and out of sync, I have to stop for a second and say, number 1, have I prayed today? Number 2, what are my priorities, and does this fit in that? And then number 3, pause, because sometimes we're going and we're going and we're going, and we just need to take a pause, take a breath, And I love that scripture that says that the breath of the Almighty, the breath of God, is what gives us strength.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we just need to take a breath, right? And just kind of breathe in for a second, that breath of God, so to speak. And just even today, I had to go sit in a Kroger parking lot and get me a Starbucks and just pause.
Yeah.
I mean, truly. And so I think for us, it's just finding that tempo, and making sure that I'm in sync with my wife, and that we're marching on the same beat. And then if I feel like I'm out of that rhythm, I have to kind of go back to the drawing board and say, okay, if I prayed, what's my priorities? Have I prioritized today? And have I taken a minute just to pause, to catch my breath? And there's days when I lay down at night and I'm like, crushed it. And then there's days when I'm like, it crushed me. You know what I mean? And I didn't do it. And I, even as recent as today, I was driving, and I've always been a big believer. I want my kids, some people, they give up on their dreams when they have, when family comes into the picture, they just kind of put their dreams on the shelf. And I've always felt like God wanted our kids to see us dream.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
But today I was driving, and I feel like the Lord just kind of shifted some things in my heart, and he said, keep dreaming, but maybe the dream is changing a little bit. Maybe the dream is being a good father. Maybe the dream is raising kids that love you, that know that you love them. Maybe that's the dream, And when you do that, when you do those things right, God will honor the rest. I truly believe that. He'll honor the rest, and God has a way of accelerating things in our life. We're in a culture that wants to hustle and grind and all this, and I believe in working hard. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain things that God can do like that,
right? Yeah,
that we can't do. We can grind all day and hustle and flow and cut in line and rub the right elbows, but none of that is as significant as when God breathes on something, when God says yes to something. And so for me, even today, I had this realization, what the church would call a revelation, right?
Yeah.
Kurt Franklin.
Man, right. Oh, sad. Yeah. See, now you're showing your age now.
Yeah, I am. But I think I'm in a season where my dreams, I'm still dreaming, but they're changing a little bit. And I dream of being a good father and a good husband, and the kind of father that loves my kids well, and that my kids know that I love them. And it's tricky, but that balance piece, I think, with life changes so much, we have to be ready to change with it. Right. And I think even in the dynamic of marriage, there's seasons where I have to recognize that my wife may need to be busy, and I may need to be home more with the kids so that she can go, and because she's connected to ministry. She's in the ministry with me. She's in the trenches. So like the other night, we had a college girl shoot my wife a text. She's going through a breakup. At 19 years old, that breakup is like,
number one. Oh yeah. So,
So she we put the kids to bed, and then she goes off, and and she's sitting at coffee with her and just, coaching her. And so it's just those flows, right?
Yeah.
We just kind of go with it. Like, you need to go, I'm going to shift. My tempo is going to go over here. Your tempo is going to go over there, but we're the same. We're in sync.
Right.
And so I think it's just being willing to move and shift, but staying in tempo with each other is what we're striving for. We don't hit the mark every day, but that's the goal.
Yeah, that's good. And that man, it reminds me of today. Me and Jamie were talking about this because she worked till 5, and then afterwards we have a youth that they have an archery tournament, and it's a good hour away. She's like, "Hey, you're recording today." She's like, "Can you take the kids? I'm gonna go do that so she can be there and support them, while I'm doing that." Man, that's exactly right. Is being able to move with each other and say, "Hey, you know what? I can't make this. Do you think you can?" Because like you said, it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork thing. And Jay, I wanted to ask you, do you find that it's a little easier or maybe even tougher with y'all, kind of working on a daily basis, kind of side by side? Do you think that's kind of a positive thing? Or maybe sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, you again. Like every time I turn around, there you are.
No, I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But you're right. We're together all day, every day, but we get to do kind of our own thing in that, where she has, a group of girls that she, ministers to and talks to. And then I have the guys that I get to kind of pour into and counsel a little bit. But, I mean, it is, you're there, you're there all the time together, but we love it. You know what I mean? There's nothing better than finding somebody that you can do, that has that passion for ministry like you do, wants to help people, and just, that's just their burning desire is just to do God's work. And then what you said about the tempo, Johnny, man, that was awesome, because that's been the word around here lately, except it's pace, but the same thing. I mean, it means the exact same thing. And Pastor's been talking about it, and he said, you cannot get ahead of God, and you don't want to be, behind missing him that way either, but you need to be in step with him. And that's what, for the past couple of weeks, he's been like driving home, we're doing a lot of things, and we have a big ministry here. We have our hands in a lot of different things. But you want to be effective too. You don't want to just be busy, accomplishing a lot of things. You want to be effective in what you're doing. And that's where that tempo, or that's where that pace comes into play.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, man. So good. So what have you found, Pastor? What have you found that is the best way? Just like when I first got on the phone with you, and you're jamming out to some praise music, man. What's your best way? It's so funny because it reminds me. It's like me, just like walking around the house, just praise music all the time. What's the best way for you to find a breakthrough when you are having kind of a rough day, or kind of like you said, the days that crush you? What's your best way of kind of getting break through that wall, or that kind of punch in the face?
Yeah. I mean, I think, worship is a big part of that. I'm a worshiper. Like, that's kind of my thing. I always kind of lean to that place. I think worship does absolutely change the atmosphere around you. So that is definitely one way of kind of getting back, kind of just centering back in and kind of getting back in. And another way I do it is by listening to, just podcasts that are speaking the word, like this one.
Oh, come on.
But, and sometimes, especially when you hear people talk about things you're going through, something about that, the Bible says that we're overcomers by the blood of the Lamb, by the sacrifice of Jesus, and the word of our testimony or our story. So there's something powerful about people sharing their story and listening and, being connected to that and listening to other people's stories. It gives you strength. There's that overcoming element that comes with that. I mean, and sometimes, we don't do, we'll lead worship once or twice a month, here at the church, but it's not our thing anymore, really, our number one.
Yeah.
But there's some times where I'll just pick up the guitar when nobody's home, and I'll just go to, because I remember being 15 years old and knowing 3 or 4 chords.
Yeah.
And sitting in my room and just, I would take my prayer and I would just sing it out, or my prayer time would become this worship time at 15 years old, knowing very little. of what I was actually doing. And I remember a time not too long, maybe a month or so ago, the kids were at school and my wife was out of the house. It's just me and the cat at the house. And I pulled out my guitar, and I don't know what I said or what I did, but it's just that same spirit, at 30, I'm 36.
There it is.
At 36
young.
years old, it's wild how the same way I connected with God at 15 is still an avenue today, and what I love about those moments is it didn't have to sound good.
Yeah.
It didn't have to, the words you're singing don't have to make sense or rhyme. But I just remember at some point it just became more tears than anything.
Right.
And it's just those moments, getting in God's presence, man, is huge. I'm a big believer in that. I know it's not trendy in a lot of places to talk that way or to lean that way, but I believe in the presence of God, and the presence of God is what marked my life, and it was what changed my life. And we're seeing it change students' lives, here at the church. But I pulled up these lyrics. I want to read them.
Yeah.
Even today, it's been a day. God's in this. He was getting me ready. But there's this old. When I say old song, I don't mean like 2 years ago Elevation. I mean like probably 2 decades. This song may be older than me, but I grew up in a home that listened to Southern gospel and the Gaither, Homecoming, and whatever. But there's this song, and I don't even know who originally wrote it, but it's called "I Can't Even Walk," and the chorus of that song is, "I can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountain's too high, the valley's too wide. Down on my knees is where I learned to stand. Oh Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand." And I think for me, that has been my story, is that it's got to be that place for me is finding a way into his presence, whether it's through worship, whether it's through prayer. I can't tell you how many times I've needed windshield wipers on my eyes driving down the road, snotting, just having moments with God, and sometimes you don't even really know what's going on. Like you're just letting it go, you get this breakthrough and you're like, no, like what's happening, Lord? But yeah, it's just whatever avenue, the goal has got to be the presence of God, whether it's through worship, through a devotional, even, sometimes it happens having dinner with a brother in Christ, or, you and your wife going out with another couple, and it's sometimes fellowship. God's in that. There's the presence of God meets us there. It's just however you can get to the presence of God is for me the way that I kind of find my center.
Yeah, and that's what we have really noticed about ourselves, because a little background on like Jeremiah and his family in this area is they kind of just felt God moving them away from everything that they knew, and their family and their friends, and bring them here, for a specific purpose. And, we found out pretty quickly that one of those purposes was to connect us together, and that's what has happened, as we started this podcast, is that's where a lot of our breakthrough has happened. And, a lot of tears sitting here around a few microphones, man, and me and him or our wives get on and just connecting together and talking with one another and going through life together. And, we've seen some amazing breakthrough mid episode, or right before we go on, tears just begin to run, man. And it's awesome.
Yeah, because God tells us that, where two or more are gathered, and we've found that to be so true. I mean, we can even be cutting up and just, having fun with this. And then all of a sudden, it's like, God just comes in the room, and we start talking about something that, and we're both being ministered to, and like you said, you end up crying or whatever.
Man.
I'm like, can we shut this thing off? I'm bawling all over the podcast.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
But it's so good though too, man, it's been good for both of us. And we didn't even really know, we started doing this, why, God really had laid it on our heart to even do it.
Yeah. But
we just were obedient and started it. And we've just had, if no one else listening has ever got anything out of it, we've got something out of it.
That's right.
What I mean? We've become closer, and our walk with God has become so much stronger. And I just, like we said, we want to be effective in what we do, and we've been able to, I think, through what we experience on this podcast.
Yeah, just two broken people, man. Just sitting down and telling our stories and kind of getting our failures out on the table and trying to work them out together. Man, it's just been so like the one episode where you broke down. I was done after that. I was like, nope, I can't say nothing else, dude. It was so good, man. It's just God moving, man, in the place.
It's all God. That's for sure.
It's so awesome. All right, so switching gears. Right now, you got to pick one. Strapped on a desert island, and you got one DVD. Rest of your life. What movie are you picking?
One DVD. Oh,
what's a DVD?
So a digital DVD for all you Gen Zs. One DVD. I'm just gonna go with the first movie that hit my mind. Home Alone.
Okay. I like it.
I don't know why. I just love that movie. Tim Curry in that movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
President yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I love you. He was great.
I don't know. It's just it's like chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
So.
Just for the soul. Man, the bird lady used to scare me to death when I was a kid. Like, I'd have to fast forward until she came around and was like, she's okay. I used to have to fast forward. I'm like, no, she scares me.
Oh my gosh, she was creepy.
Oh, dude, really so bad. Jay, you one digital video.
Man, I don't even know.
Digital video.
Digital video disc.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really difficult. Probably the movie I've seen the most times in my life is Shawshank.
Oh, okay.
So
you're trying to escape the desert island. That's what you got going on.
Trying to get off that island.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer. You gotta maybe give me yours.
I do. Transformers.
We had time to
Shia
think about
LaBeouf.
this. You had time to think about it.
Dude, it got me, man. It was a perfect mix of for me, like new technology and in childhood nostalgia that it gripped me, man. When it came out, it had me.
But what about Bumblebee though? That was
yeah, I like that one. Yeah. What is her name? Haley Steinfeld or whatever. Yeah, she's really good. It just gripped me, man. And I'd still say to the day it's one that I could watch and never get sick of it. But yeah, I too like Home Alone. I always argue with people. Home Alone is the best Christmas movie on the planet.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Period. Me and Jamie always argue about it. She likes the Santa Claus.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you got those people like of the
Griswolds.
Christmas Vacation. Yeah. Oh yeah. And do you think is this is all right, Pastor Johnny? This is the end of the discussion for everybody. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh no,
Yes.
No!
I think culture has kind of moved it back into that conversation, and now actual Christmas movies reference Die Hard.
Yeah.
So it is now canon. It's Christmas canon, whether it's meant to be or not.
Okay. I respect that.
Man,
Richard
I really honestly thought you were going to say LeBron James or Michael Jordan.
Oh, we could go there. We could go there. We could, but you being in and out of LA, I'd say you probably.
I'm looking at his hoodie. I see the purple and gold on his hoodie. I'm like, I don't know.
Listen, it is MJ.
Period.
Oh,
yes.
That's right.
I was alive in 1996. Okay, so for the whole Bulls legacy, that's it.
Yeah,
I was there. Talk about the 90s. It's cool again. Everybody's trying to wear their high-waisted whatever.
Yep.
It's all oversized 90s. That was the time.
Yep.
Those 6 championships. It was. I've not seen anything like it since.
No.
MJ for sure.
Yep. He can't be touched, man. He cannot be touched. That's why I got students. Oh, we sat and argued for 30 minutes the other day on just. He's like, oh, LeBron, this. Like, you just don't understand. Like, we seen both. Like, we seen it with our eyes. You know, you take the eye test. Well, LeBron's stats are this. The eye test. You sit and watch both of these players play, and Jordan is on another level from I said there is a reason why players that have played with him and saw LeBron almost all say Jordan. Like, he's just something different.
Oh, yeah. It's like that, the stat, LeBron's stats in Game 7 of the finals. and then they try to compare him to Jordan, but Jordan never had to go to a game 7.
Yep.
So
boom. End of discussion. Period. Hands down. I'm telling you, it's like, and I knew it was like that. You know, it's kind of there in the time now, because I'm like, okay, give me your top 5 then, and it was like LeBron, like Steph Curry. I'm like, dude, your top 5 ever, and they were like 4 of them were players now. I'm like, you know, Isaiah Thomas and Magic, and I'm like, you're skipping over
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird, on, right? Man. The greatest small forward of all time, the Great White Hope.
I mean, Mookie Blaylock.
Right.
Mookie.
Man. Mookie Blaylock. I have not heard that name.
I was looking at Tyrone Bogues.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow.
Not
Muggsy.
Huh? The guy was like 4'9".
Yeah. Yep. It's tiny. He was smaller than all the other teams, like Water Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a beast, though, man. He was really good. Man, who else was I saying? Oh, I was an old school. He was like in the 60s. He like averaged a triple-double for Oscar Robinson. I'm like, y'all are skipping over some of these great players, man. But, you know, they're kind of stuck in that time.
Okay, so I was watching, I got to say this. I was watching a college basketball game the other day, and, of course, Bill Walton is the commentator. And I don't know if you've listened to Bill Walton before. Like,
no, I don't think. I might know the voice.
It is so bad. I mean, it is bad. It's like, oh, okay. Anyhow, so as I'm watching, I'm thinking, you know, if they would get like Troy Aikman.
Oh my gosh.
Not Troy Aikman, Tony Romo.
Yeah.
If they would get Romo and Bill Walton to just get together, like no one would watch that game just because of those two. I promise you. I don't care who was playing. You would shut it off.
It's like, oh, these two are driving me nuts. Yeah. Or just, man, just turn the sound down, turn the subtitles on or something.
You would have to. If you've never heard Walton announce a game, you need to check it out. It is funny. I swear, it's like,
oh my god,
it's bad.
Some of them they're just extra. It's like just do your job. Don't try to be extra. Like just keep it chill. Keep it chill.
Yes,
man. Yes. But yeah, okay. So the next question I wanted you to kind of shed some light on what have you seen in your experience, the difference between ministering to youth and young people and ministering to adults, like you said, with you going into the role that's kind of more broad. What advice and what have you seen in kind of approaches, especially, between youth and adults when it comes to ministry?
Yeah. I used to jokingly say, even before we were, in student ministry full time and, just kind of worship leaders, but I used to jokingly say, if you can lead young people, you can lead anybody.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that.
Yes.
Because they don't fall for your phony baloney.
Yeah.
Like, they can see through the fake all day. And so you really have to be authentic. You have to be an authentic leader. Authenticity is key, is paramount in reaching young people. They're adults, somewhere along the way, we're just okay. Like, you can say the right buzzwords in a sermon and adults will just like, hey man, brother.
Right.
Like, it's just kind of automatic, And I think the older you get, the more you lose your hearing.
Right. Yeah.
You just start amen and everything. You feel good.
Yep.
But young people, I mean, you really got to fight for it. And, and one thing I've learned too is a lot of them, like this, I call it Christianese, like these churchy things that we say and that we do, like that's not their language. And that's not the language that's going to communicate with them. So learning how to speak the gospel more clear, lead more clearly, but with just as much, power and just as much intentionality. But yeah, that's kind of the difference, and I think people talk about the attention span and, like you get like a minute for age. So if they're 13, you got 13 minutes,
right?
I don't know. But I will say that there's something about, ministry if I'm preaching on a Sunday, I know that I've got some time, and adults will kind of go with you. Like, they want to kind of go on this journey. But with student ministry, it's like, cut out the fluff, get straight to the stuff.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Like, you know what I mean? Give it to me. Like, I need it right now. Like, but come in hot. In. You don't need to rev up the engine. You come in hot and you're ready to go. Because every second they give you is a gift.
Yeah.
And I think, that's with everybody. Anytime anybody gives you their attention, it's a gift. But especially with young people, I think just coming in ready, prepared, and meaning what you say. I mean, you got, and I think personal stories, again, that the power of your story. If they know you've been through it and here you are to tell the story, there's something so powerful about that. Especially with young people, everybody, but especially with young people. Whereas adults, you get a little more, you have a little more breathing room, and they'll kind of hang with you a little longer. And even in the worship space, adults are kind of open to new things, but students, man, you gotta reach them right where they're at, and you got to pull them higher. So that's kind of been the shift with me, and I'm learning as I go. But we've always led very relational. That's just our style. We're relational leaders. And I never really knew why, but now I know. God was setting us up because this generation needs relationships.
Yeah.
2020 didn't do us any favors by isolating everybody. This generation, they need relationship. I think it was 2010 when Facebook got like real big.
Really? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So really, you think about it, teenagers, if you're 15, you really don't remember a world without social media. Like, you don't know what that's like at 15 years old. So they're constantly in front of something. There's something, they're communicating, but they're not getting real relationship. So I think that relationship piece is huge in leading them. And then when you do step up with a microphone with something to say, like, oh, that's John. That's Johnny. Let me hear what he's got to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's that relationship piece with more so with this generation than any generation, I think, that we have to make sure is a priority.
That's good, man. And what I love about Pastor Johnny is that he's like me. And when it comes to like no holds barred, you'll do anything to catch that attention. Like, bro walked out in a, the little heart candies on Valentine's Day that have like the sayings on. He walked out with a full on heart like outfit. Oh, dude, it's great. So it's like right there, you instantly got him. Like, you instantly got it. Yeah.
I know what he's gonna say, but I gotta hear it.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, he got me. I'm all in. Let's see if I can pop it up, because I seen it, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, and that's what I try to pull out all the stops. I try to make it fun for them, and kind of a theme of every message and every big event and stuff like that, to where they should feel special. They should feel like you're putting in an effort for them. Some of these kids, they come in on big service, and they don't feel a part of it. They feel like, well, I'm here, but I'm not really engaged, and it's not really directed at me. So they kind of just make their way through it. But when we have a chance to have them sitting down in front of us, we want to make that impact. And like you said, right away, connect with them and make them laugh, or make them, feel something. And that way, you could really get to the level with them and get them interested. Like, oh, they're doing this for me. Like, they're putting an effort for me. And they really appreciate that. Because like you said, I think you were right on. They see through the crap. Like, they see right through it, man. They will. And they'll call you out on it so fast. Right. But yeah, it's so awesome, man. And I think you're spot on with all that, dude, with kind of being able to do that, which, Jeremiah, I know you kind of working with more men of adult age. I know that's kind of a learning experience and kind of a maneuvering, because a lot of the ones that you work with kind of come from broken past and haven't really been churched as much.
Some of them never been in a church.
Right. So what's your advice, do you think?
Well,
kind of
he hit the nail on the head. It's that relational ministry. Yep. You build a relationship with them first, and you let them know that you've been there. You're not judging them in any way. And then you build that trust with them. And whenever you have that in somebody, it's not there initially, it shouldn't be, you're an idiot if you run around just trusting everybody, so you gotta get to know somebody first. And, once you build that, then you can start ministering to them, and you can, just kind of walk with them. And that's the best part about that relational, ministry, is that you get to walk with people. Yeah. I know that the people that in my life that helped me the most were people that I had a relationship with, not somebody that just was in the pulpit preaching to me and then, would like exit stage left and get in their car and exit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you never knew them or talked to them or nothing. It's hard to yes, they can bring forth a good message and it can minister to you. But man, when you got a relationship with somebody and you've sat down and ate with them, broke bread with them, and then they get up there, then then it's just, it sinks in a little bit more, and it means something when it comes from them.
That's good. Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, you ready? Oh
my God.
This is so awesome, man. So, dude, we've got a rally coming up on March 13th. We got something special that we're gonna do that night, and I'll send you a picture. It's gonna be awesome, dude. I'm so pumped. I cannot wait. But yeah, we're going to do something special for him, and I got it set up to where, none of the kids know what's going to be going on, but it's going to be good, dude. I'll let you know. I'll give y'all here. I'm going to give y'all a sneak preview here real quick of just so this is one of our youth leaders. And Johnny, he's bald headed, so it's going to be like a
oh wow.
I cannot wait, man. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. I'm so pumped. But yeah, so kind of closing out here, I had one more thing. Okay, if you could give our listeners one piece of advice, whether it's ministry, whether it's just life in general, what would that one piece of advice? I mean, you've got 60 seconds to impart on them for one time, and this is going to impact them for the rest of their life. What would you tell
them? Be faithful, be humble. Be the one in the room that doesn't need the attention. If everybody else is trying to, to get close to the leader or move up the ladder or whatever, you just be the one that works hard. Stay faithful. Stay faithful. If I could say it 100 times, stay faithful. Don't move until God says move. Be the one that's loyal, that's dependable, and be humble, because if you take credit for the good, you're gonna have to take blame for the bad.
That's good.
And so I think if I've learned anything, it's that everything good in us is proof of the grace of God. Everything good that we do is just proof of God's goodness. So stay faithful, go low, do the little things, do it when no one's watching, practice, be prepared, be the person that preaches in the mirror to yourself before you get on a platform.
That's
and preach.
good.
Do the things in secret, vacuum the church when nobody's watching. Like, be that guy. And you don't need anybody to pat you on the back, but just do it because it's the right thing to do. Worship starts with a broom in your hand.
Yes.
And that one thought changed my life. Worship with a broom in your hand is just as much worship with a microphone in your hand.
That is good.
And if you can keep that posture when the day comes, when God puts you in a high place or in a place where you like that place that you desire, that place that you dream of, you'll be ready for it. Your character will be ready for it. Your heart will be ready for it. And it's cliche, but your gift may open the door, but your character keeps you in the room.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that has been the anthem of my life, because I'm not the most talented. I'm not the most gifted. I'm not the best dressed. I'm not any of that stuff. But I've learned how to be a good person, how to keep my integrity right, how to be pure, how to be faithful, and how to know my place. And my place is at the feet of Jesus.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
That's a mic drop.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. Oh, that's so good, man. Boom. I told you we got to get the boom sound on there. Yeah. Yep. All right. So, Pastor Johnny, where can any of our listeners find you at, man? Where can they find you or the church at?
ChristianMingle.com.
Come on, farmer. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Kidding. Farmer selling. It's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the same. It's at the THE Johnny B, because my last name is Craig. At the Johnny B on everything.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Jay, you got anything else?
I don't think so.
This is awesome, man. We will definitely
we got to
have you back on again for sure. And we'd love to sometime, God willing, man, get you here in person and get to, hang out and just chill, man. So awesome. It was so awesome connecting with you, dude.
Very nice to meet you, Johnny.
Absolutely, man. Let's stay in touch. Love you guys.
All right. Love you, bro.
Later.
Wow. That was good.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Pastor Johnny, for being on the Almost Brothers podcast. Michael and Jeremiah, as always. Remember, if you don't have a home church, check us out here at the Lighthouse in Dexter, 8:30 outside in the parking lot, 10 o'clock inside. We love y'all.